Krista, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So this will be released weeks apart. However, we're recording them on back-to-back days.
Right.
So part 2 of 3. Today yesterday we highlighted some of the issues, some of the things that hold companies back. Today we're going to talk about digital marketing basics.
Yes.
So we got 5 things on tap today. We got SEO, which is search engine optimization, website content, social media, CRM.
Mhm.
So let's start with SEO and really start at a high level here
Yeah.
because SEO is something that if you asked me 3 years ago, I had no idea what it was. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh yeah, I've heard of SEO now. And then once I have my own company, I really heard of SEO.
Mhm.
So let's introduce search engine optimization.
Yeah, sure. I think this is an area that a lot of new companies especially miss, and it's a huge miss. But what you just need to do is make sure that the words on your website are relevant to the people in your industry. So you can't just type anything. You need to actually go out and do research to determine what words people are searching for, and then how hard would it be to rank for those words to see if you even can do it, because there's a lot of competition out there for words. So what happens is Google reads your website and they have the thing called a crawler, a spider, and it crawls all your whole page and it looks for certain triggers to let it know what the page is about. And then it indexes it in a file, just like you would with your anything that you want to file. It alphabetizes it, goes by words, all the metadata, and it indexes it into its server. So the only way it can pull it out is it with certain criteria. So you want to make sure that you have the right words on your website and that they're in the right spots on your website, because you can't just like put them anywhere. They have to be in specific areas. And so those are the 2 main things about SEO regarding like making sure your website even has a chance to get found.
Right. Okay. Interesting. So it matters where. When you say where, do you mean if it's like buried on a sub page or the home page, or is that kind of what you're talking about?
Well, thank you for asking. That's a good question. No, every single web page that you create should have one focus keyword, and you're going to
Okay.
put it in the page title, and then you're going to have it in so that would be like if you know anything about website, it's an H1 header. So like the main header of your page, and then you're going to have it in the body copy, but not too much. Because if you don't want to spam and act all fake with your keywords, because Google is going to pick up on that. So it's got to be in the
Okay.
header and the page copy. And then if you have an image on the page, you can put it behind the scenes, and the image is called the alt text. And
Okay.
then those are the main areas that it really needs to be the keyword on
Okay.
every single page. Not
Okay.
to say
Got it.
every page should have a different, I mean, you can do the same keyword for more than one page, but each page is its own entity when it comes to being indexed.
Okay. Okay. So keywords. What are some other pieces of SEO basics that people need to be aware of?
Yeah, so there's a couple others. So the one we just talked about is called on-page SEO, because it's anything that you can do on your own website, on your page.
Okay.
And then there's technical SEO, which is hugely important. If your website is slow, Google's not going to rank you. If it's
Okay.
not mobile friendly, they're not going to rank you. If you don't have an SSL certificate and things like that. And then sometimes with websites, you create a page and you think that Google is going to be able to see it and crawl it to index it, but there could be some settings behind the scene that actually prevents Google from seeing that page. So you might think you're all good with this awesome optimized page, but Google can't even see it. So there's some technical things in the background that definitely need to be addressed. So you want to make sure that you have at least a rudimentary understanding of technical SEO. And then the last thing that impacts your ability to rank for these words that you want to rank for your website and your industry
Oh,
is
wait.
off page. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hold on there.
Okay.
What's SSL?
Oh, sure. That's if you have HTTPS dot or colon slash www.
Yep.
If you don't have that S on there, then your website is not secure. And then Google not only won't they rank you, if someone tries to go to your website, they're going to get a warning that your
Yeah.
website is not secure. And then it might deter people from even going to your website.
Wow. Okay. I've seen that. I've seen that before. I just
Yeah.
went to a webpage yesterday that said not secure. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
why is that?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
That's that
Good.
certificate. So
Awesome.
yes, it's every single website needs to have it now. It's essential.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Keep going. So go to the
Okay.
fourth one.
Yeah. So we did the technical, and then the last one is the off-page SEO. And that is anything that happens off your site that can impact Google's feeling for how relevant you are to these words and phrases. So if you have like a social media post on the topic that gets a lot of likes and a lot of comments, or you have blogs on your website that get comments, that interaction with your audience actually is an indicator for Google of the authority of the content that you're putting out. And
Okay.
then more important probably than that is even linking. So like if you have a link from another site to your website, Google thinks, oh, well, if this site thinks that their content's good, then it must be good. You can't have a link from just any site. That has to be like, I'm a marketing agency. So if HubSpot links to me, and HubSpot's a huge marketing technology platform. So if they link to me, Google says, oh, well, wow, that big company trusts Ascend Business Growth. We should trust Ascend Business Growth. So you have to pick the right links from the right companies. But once you get those, that can dramatically increase your ability to rank for words that might be really difficult to rank for because there's a lot of competition. But if you play your cards right, you can do it.
Okay. Okay. Got it. So that was all we had for SEO basics.
Yeah.
I think this dovetails nicely. We're already talking about it enough into website.
Right.
So let's kind of talk about the website basics.
Yeah. So we covered the one, which is the security, the SSL certificate.
Okay.
If your website doesn't have that, go out right now and call your web developer and tell them that you absolutely have to have that. Just if you don't have an S, HTTPS is your clue.
Yeah. Well, so let me ask you this while we're there. So if someone's using a web developer, I'm sure they know to do this. If they're using something, you can use something like a Wix page, right? Like a canned one where you can develop a website within it. Will they automatically go get that for you, or is that something you have to pay for? Do you know how that works?
Well, I don't know on other platforms. I know that HubSpot includes it in their CMS package. It's part of it.
Okay.
But I also know that other website platforms do not automatically include it.
Okay.
So you will have to go out and buy a separate, it could cost a little bit of money. It's not much, but you have to have it. So
okay. Good to know. Okay.
Yep. So you got the security, we talked about the search. You don't want to, there's no reason to have any kind of website if you're not going to do SEO, because the only people that will find out are people you directly send to it, which is going to limit the success of everything. So do the SEO, but you want to make sure that the structure of the site, like the content, is laid out in an organized way, which I know that's subjective, but it needs to be addressed. And then you want to optimize it. The one thing I say about the basic of website, one thing you need to think about on every single page, what do you want the person to do next? And then have that option available to them in a clearly defined way. Don't make it hidden or some kind of like, well, if they want to, they can find it. No. Make it a huge call to action or something clearly defined that after they look at this page, what should they do next? And that's optimizing it for users. And then if you don't have an eye for design, find someone that does for sure, because I've been to too many websites, and you probably have as well, where like, for example, the font is so small, you can't hardly read it.
Right.
That's like a simple design thing. Like just if the font's really small and it's all text and no images, people's eyes are going to get glazed over and not be able to absorb what you're trying to give them, the information you're trying to give them. So make sure that it's optimized for design and then also for conversion. What do you want the people to do next?
Okay. And
then the last basic is people. The whole reason to have a website is so that people will look at it. And then you want the people to do something after they look at it. And you're going to need to have those people go somewhere. So you want to have integrations with your website to get the people where you need them to be so you can communicate with them. And that would usually be like in an email marketing system or ideally a CRM, but you
Right.
need to make sure that's all tied together and you have the flow of how the contacts are going to flow from one to the other all mapped out.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. That's good. We're cruising right along here because
Yeah.
these are all really, really important things, especially for companies that are commercializing and trying to be found.
Right.
Again, there are some companies that do not want to be found, but most companies do, whether it's for investment dollars or
Right.
for selling other product. Okay, so the next one is content basics.
Yeah. So your website has content on it, right? That's the
Yeah.
main thing. And you're going
Right.
to talk to people and you need to tell them things, which is your content. So the first thing of any website or any of these initiatives that we're talking about, you have to know your audience. So do a buyer persona. There's a million different templates out there, but you need to map out who you're selling to and what the criteria is for those people. And not only like the size of the company, number of employees, their job roles and titles, but like what triggers are going to make them want to make a change, what roadblocks are going to stop them from making a change, what objections are they going to have to overcome to make a change and make a decision to go with you, and then what concerns or questions will they have. So in your buyer persona and your audience, just draft up all this, just bullet point it out, whatever you need to do, so you have a vision of who you're talking to. HubSpot likes to do it where you actually name the person, like Technical Tom, for example, would be
Okay.
a buyer persona. And then everybody, when they're talking internally, they can talk about Technical Tom and what he would care about in terms of sales and marketing. But so
Okay.
know your audience and then making sure that your content is relevant. And I see a lot, and maybe you do as well, Dwayne, that you go to the website and the content is boring. It's super company focused. It's all about the company and all about their news, but it's not impacting me in my life and
Mm-hmm.
answering the questions that I have to solve the problems that I have. That's great that you have a new product coming out. Good for you, but how does that help me and what I need?
Right. Okay.
So that's good to tell me about your new product, but you got to make it relevant to your audience. And then again, you want to optimize it like we talked about for the website, same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then as far as SEO, and then for visual, so people can absorb your content. I like to do content that includes everything. If I have the time and the resources, it has a video, it has the copy, and it has maybe an infographic, maybe a table, a list. I try to do as many different ways of telling the information as possible because somebody might like videos and somebody might hate videos.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you want to make it absorbable to everybody in their learning style.
Sure.
And then lastly, you got your content. Don't just sit it on your website and not do anything with it. It's like just putting it up on the shelf that's going to collect dust. You actually have to promote it.
Mm-hmm.
SEO is the basic of promotion, so at least it can get found by Google, but that's not going to do it for you on its own. You have to email it, social, give it to people, put it in, do an ad about it. So you have to have a plan for how to promote your content as well. So those
Okay.
are the basics.
Yeah, that makes total sense. I mean,
Mhm.
as I'm sitting here, I'm just thinking about things to do for Project MedTech, which is funny, right? About the promotion piece of this. I mean,
Mhm.
obviously we have a strong presence on LinkedIn, and we just started a newsletter, but there's other ways for us to do this. So anyways, I think it's a lot of food for thought here. Okay. Well, we're kind of dovetailing into this, right? We're
Mhm.
talking about promotion, social
Mhm.
media basics,
Yeah.
right? So this is an area that is really hot, right? Like Twitter in the med tech field, like people have Twitter, and that probably captures some of that younger audience. I'm not so sold on that as the younger audience progresses in their career, that LinkedIn isn't the main avenue. That's personally what I like. I know other people's like other things, and
Mhm.
there's going to be different ones, but LinkedIn is very much a professional network. If you build your network correctly, you could build it so that you get the content you want. It's a little deeper
Right.
than 160 characters or whatever the hell Twitter is now.
Mhm.
So I like it a little bit more.
Mhm.
I think the med tech industry probably likes it a little bit more. But let's dive into social media, because I think this is an area that if you could be a very big asset for you, if you do it correctly. So let's start there.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. It all drives back. I mean, the purpose of social media is to get people to your website. So that's why we talked about the website. And you have nothing to say if you don't do content. So that's the content has to come first.
Yep.
And when it comes to the social media basics, it goes right back to what you were saying. What platforms should you focus on? Because unless you have a lot of money and like a full staffed social media team, if you try to do social for Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, Pinterest, I mean, Snapchat, there's just
Right.
too many,
Mm-hmm.
depending on your audience, right? So choose the platforms that are most relevant to your audience. We typically do Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Um, but a lot of Instagram and Pinterest might be and Snapchat might be really good for you as well, depending on what you're selling. Not Snapchat for probably med tech, but
Right.
so choose your profile, but you have to optimize your profile. So what I see sometimes is like the social media profiles don't look anything like the company brand on the website. So I like to have the same imagery along all the profiles so that it's super easy to know I'm on Project MedTech's
Sure.
social media. So, and then you want to also think about SEO on your profiles as well, like making sure that you're using the same terms on your website, on your
Okay.
social media. So just make sure all your profiles are filled out completely, optimized, using the right ones. And then we talk about the 80-20 rule. There's always a thing, 20% of the people do 80% of the work. But in social media, it's you want to do 80% profiles that are educational, blog articles, anything like that that's just trying to teach people. And it could be your own blog articles, but also other people's information. You want to be an industry leader and just sharing all the good content that you find out there as
Okay.
a content aggregator. And then 20% of the time you can promote your products and services.
Okay.
But what happens too much is companies just promote their products and services and they're not
Mm.
doing the education. And then another thing I see a lot of people, this is the last thing, they'll post once a week or something like that. And that is totally not enough. Okay. People, if you post once a week, I'm going to go on in an hour from the time you posted it and I'm not going to ever see it.
Yeah.
So you have to post multiple times per day on all the profiles. Doesn't have to be super overwhelming with all the scheduling tools. And you can duplicate posts on profiles, although the social media experts will tell you need to do different posts for every different thing. And if you have the resources to do that, great. But if not, at least you can get posts
Yeah.
out to all your platforms.
Okay. I'll second this on the 80-20 rule and being consistent. So Project MedTech will post, we will share events that we're doing once a week. The other 4 days we post about episodes we've done, and the episodes we've done, while they are our podcast episodes, they are all educational, right?
Yeah.
So, and I also the frequent rule. So, this was one that I was against. I was like, hey, we're going to post twice a week. That's it, because we don't want to be overwhelming. That is not the right method to take. And I learned that the hard way when I started posting 5 days a week from the Project
Yeah.
MedTech channel, or we did rather, and then I share it and the other partners share it as well. You actually see views of the post, impressions of the post grow over the course of usually 3 weeks, 3-4 weeks. We will see I'll get notifications that, hey, this person liked your post, and it was a post I posted 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, because people see it at different times,
Right.
right? People who are on LinkedIn every morning, they're quick to like posts, view posts, and that is the bulk of the audience. But there also are users who are once a week, once every 2 weeks, that
Right.
they'll log on and see it, and they'll see
Mhm.
these old posts, and
Mhm.
you'll see them start to see those. So you'll see views creep up. So um, yeah, I definitely changed my view on how frequently we should post, and in favor of the frequent posts. But I also do like the 80-20 rule. And we're in a unique situation because we're a content provider. So
Mhm.
it's a little different. But I think for, other companies, building their LinkedIn following is really important. And it takes time. I mean, we've
Mhm.
been around for a year and some change. We've had a LinkedIn page for probably about a year. And if you don't, it takes time to build, right? I think we're at like 1,400
Oh,
followers.
good. Yeah.
But that's taken a long time. I think people,
Yeah, it does take a
I
while.
I see a lot of other companies who are like been around for a long time and they have like 500 followers, right? So if you're not consistent with it, you're not going to see growth.
Mhm.
Um, but anyways, I really appreciate the social media basics. I think it's
Well, I
important.
wanted to hit on one thing that you said that
Yeah.
in passing, but I think is super important. Um, you said that your team promotes the content as well. And that's one thing
Yes.
I see with companies as well. It's like you have your marketing team and they'll put it out on your main company profile, but no one else in the company is sharing it on their own unique profiles. So if you can get your employees, as many as possible, to engage in sharing your content, that will dramatically increase, like you just said. I just want to make sure that people remember
Yeah.
to include your employees. Don't just put it on your company profile, put it on everybody's profile.
Yeah. Yeah. A company I used to work for, NAMSA, is really good about pushing, or not pushing, providing the content and then having their employees push it out as well if they'd like.
Yeah.
And it,
Right.
it does, I mean, there's probably a lot of overlap between the network, but there are always the outliers, and that's how you reach
Mhm.
them. So,
Yeah.
yeah, no, great advice. Okay, what about CRM
Mhm.
basics? This is one I think also, we listed these in, you know, five, and there weren't any specific order. Well, maybe you put them in specific order, and but I didn't. Um, SEO basics, website basics, social media. Like I think it's a good order of how people probably already think about it. CRM basics is one where I see small companies go, oh, I'm just going to keep it on an Excel sheet.
Mhm. Mhm.
And from the very beginning, because of my background and my personal experiences with certain companies, I realized how important the CRM system was. And if you
Mhm.
if you screw it up, it'll just get out. It's like a wildfire, right?
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
it's if you let it go, it is uncontainable at some point. And so we made a very it was a number one priority internally at Project MedTech, that as we build the CRM for the future, we take it very seriously from the very beginning. So let's kind of talk about CRM
Mhm.
basics
Mhm.
and the flow, how it fits into digital marketing. Because I'm not sure people even really realize that, right? Like how it fits in
Mhm.
with your website. And, they might just think, oh, it's a sales thing. Salespeople go out, they make contacts, they put in the CRM,
Right.
but
Right.
that's not the case. So
Oh.
let's dive into that a little bit.
Yeah, sure. This is the thing that we do. One of the main services that we offer, actually, because everybody needs it so much. Um, the contacts are the people that you want to sell to.
Mhm.
So these are the people that the marketing team is going to talk to and the sales team is going to talk to.
Mhm.
So you want to have one central repository for all these people. And then the marketing's goal is to get these people that salespeople want to talk to the website and into the salespeople's hands. So you need to have a central repository for all that. You're going to have marketing list to the same contacts that the salespeople are going to be doing one-to-one to. So you want to make sure that your data is clean. That's the main thing. You don't want to have bad email addresses or, phone numbers and things, so that people will buy a list, right? Or have an event and they'll collect half the data and not all the data. So anyways, or they'll have like 4 spreadsheets of different contacts and
Mhm.
they need to put them all into in the database, but you don't want to have duplicates and like what different email addresses and different companies. So you got to make sure that Your data's clean. That's the first step. And then you want to make sure that you have a process defined for how the contacts are going to flow between sales and marketing. If marketing drives traffic to your website and it's a hot qualified lead and they give it to the salesperson, marketing has a right to know what happened to that contact. Did it
Right.
turn to a customer? They not only have a right, they have it's essential for them to know that. Are they driving customers or just unqualified people to the website?
Right.
And if the salespeople don't tell them that using the CRM tool in different fields and things they have to check and mark, nobody's ever going to know what leads are qualified or unqualified, and if marketing's even doing anything to help drive sales.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you have to have process. We call, I didn't put it on the list here, but a sales in marketing, a service level agreement, an SLA between sales and marketing. So marketing is going to do these things to contacts, and sales is agreement to do these things. And then at the end, we're going to roll it up to these reports so that both teams know what's happening. And that's the whole goal of the CRM. So data, get it in there, have a process and a standard policies for what the expectations are to using it, from sales and marketing, using a service level agreement if you can, and then making sure that you provide regular training to the salespeople, because there's a lot of tools and functions in these CRMs and they need guidance on how to use these tools until they get familiar with them. So, and then having an onboarding document too, because salespeople turn over and you don't want to have to struggle every time a new salesperson comes in to get them up to speed on how to use the CRM. So I always recommend having a training guide or something that lists in detail what people should do to use the system.
Yeah. Awesome. Boy, the training one's a big one. You see this happen a lot where, you're going to have turnover in positions and new people are going to start as you grow, and, having people come in, if one user is, not using it properly, then it's a pain, right? And there's the classic phrase, garbage in, garbage out.
Right.
And these CRM platforms could provide so much data. They can be such a useful tool. They're a great way to track what's going on with the client, communication between different sales folks, different, marketing and sales. It's such a powerful tool. But if you put garbage in, you're going to get garbage out. And the fact of the matter is, a lot of executive leadership within companies rely on CRM data.
Yeah.
So, when you're not getting that accurately, it makes running a company hard. This is a great one to end on. Awesome. Is there anything we missed? I mean, I have my little list here, and I think we went through and checked just about everything.
Well, there's two things we didn't talk about, but they're all part of the content promotion. That's email marketing and paid advertising.
Okay.
So there's basics associated with those as well. Those are some of the core things, but that's just all part of promoting your content.
Okay. You want to touch on some of that?
With email marketing, I would just recommend that people watch their delivery. There's sometimes what happens is different servers get blacklisted and things, and then you're trying to do your email marketing and then all your emails are going to spam and you don't even know.
Yeah.
Or, so you got to watch your deliverability. And then also just know that opens are not super valuable information, because if I send an email, your email server might just automatically open the email. So it doesn't necessarily mean anyone's looked at it. It's kind of a fake gauge.
Okay.
So
good to know.
Yeah, it's super important. People, 50% of the people opened. Well, they may not have it. What you want to look at is the clicks.
Okay.
But some email systems, like if you're emailing large corporations and stuff, their servers will open and click every link in your email.
Oh, okay.
Automatically. So you'll be like, oh, this person clicked on everything. And wow, that's amazing. But they might not have done anything. So just know that opens and clicks are a gauge, not an absolute.
All right.
And check your deliverability. And then regarding paid advertising, I don't know. There's too much to talk about regarding paid advertising. But what I use it for is because it's expensive. If I'm
Yeah.
trying a specific campaign, I'll do a paid ad, or I like to do for a specific target list
Okay.
where I have, these are my 100 people I want to work with. And I'm just
Mhm.
going to, every month, I'm going to do a new little ad, brand awareness or lead gen campaign for them. Like, I like to be more specific with it, but honestly, paid advertising isn't my best skill set,
Okay.
but we do it because we have to. I mean,
Yeah.
I have people on my team that are better at it than I am.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Very good.
mhm.
We've done that, I think, with a LinkedIn advertisement before, right?
Yeah,
Which worked out pretty well. We like that we actually saw some value from that. It wasn't expensive, you know. It was like getting our toes wet there.
I
So
know. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But awesome. Krista, I really appreciate this. Hang
Yes.
on for a minute.
Okay.
And what are we talking about in part three of this?
Sure. Yeah. We're going to talk about, and it won't be too long, but just in
Mhm.
general, what kind of results can you get doing these types of activities? What is the
Awesome.
benefit of doing all this stuff?
Yeah, yeah,
Why
good,
should
good.
you
So
even bother?
we're
So we
bringing
can
it
talk about
home.
some.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're going to bring it home.
we identified the problems. We're talking about the basics, and we're going to talk
Mhm.
about the return on investment ROI, which is
Yeah.
usually what everyone wants to talk about, right?
Yeah.
That's the good piece there. Okay, great. Yeah, hang on for 1 minute, Krista. Appreciate your time again
Okay.
today,
Yes.
and we'll talk soon.
Well, thank you. We'll see you soon.